We have some major updates on Trevor Story and why he was scratched from yesterday's spring training game, as well as how he could be the absolute turning point for this Red Sox organization, specifically offensively this up-and-coming season. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Red Sox Digest, but first, as you guys know, if you're part of that 86.5% currently watching this video, not currently subscribed, scroll down, click the subscribe button. We do appreciate the love and support, so thank you guys. But now let's get to it and break down the Trevor Story injury updates, as well as how he could be the turning point for this Red Sox organization. Now, we'll start with the injury and really what happened yesterday and why he was scratched just minutes before the game started. And, well, apparently reported by Chris Cotillo, it says from Red Sox, Trevor Story was scratched from today's lineup for precautionary reasons due to mild upper back tightness. Now, I want to say something before we get into what is actually going on. Please understand, they are professional athletes playing a physical sport that is enduring on the body every single day. They have to play 162 regular season games after playing a month of spring training. I want you guys to please understand it is not the end of the world. I just made a video on Lucas Giolito that is probably up already. It's the same exact idea, and I failed to mention this in that video, so I feel like I have to in this video. They are professional athletes. They have the best trainers, the best physicians, and the best medical staffs that they can possibly get their hands on, and because of that, just allow them to do what needs to be done. Just because he's missing a spring training game does not mean Trevor Story is once again not going to play 100-plus games this season for Boston. Same thing for Lucas Giolito. Just because he had left hamstring tightness yesterday in the middle of in his first inning of appearance in over a year of time since being on the diamond, it does not mean his leg is going to fall off. It does not mean he's going to be out for the season. Give them time for their bodies to recover, get acclimated to being a professional athlete again because they've had some time off. Not only did they go through the offseason, but again, like Lucas Giolito and like Trevor Story, they have not been all that right available over the last few years due to injuries. So allow them to be professional athletes and train like professional athletes and find their footing, find a groove before you jump on their backs and say they're done, they're injured, they're done for the year. That is not the case. They were scratched from the lineup. Obviously, Giolito's story was a little bit different. He left the game after one inning, but for Story, he was scratched from the lineup because of a mild upper back tightness as reported by the Red Sox, then tweeted by Chris Cotillo. And again, we'll move on to break down what exactly I'm discussing when I say he could play more than 100 games this year. Now, if we look at the bottom of his baseball reference page, in the years in Boston, the last 3 years in Boston, well, he played in 26 games last year. He played in 43 in 2023, and in 2022, he played in 94. That's not great. There's 162 games in those regular seasons. And again, not scratching 100 is a problem. For someone you're giving $140 million to in totality, you would really hope to be getting 120, 130 plus games from that individual. And obviously you would hope the stats would then follow in the games played, as well as the WAR and the other very large statistics that we do follow to really comprehend whether the player has been playing well or not for a season. But now, Trevor Story, we've seen him for over the years. Back when he was with Colorado, he was a problem. And yeah, the exit velocity is higher because obviously they're playing in Colorado. Rubbish. Just rubbish. He did it year after year after year. This kid is extremely talented, and bearing injury, he could be an elite player, not only for the Red Sox, but for any team he finds himself on. Now, again, we mentioned the games, or the lack of games played over the last 3 years, specifically in Boston. Now, I'm going to cite this tweet, and again, I'm going to tag it down below so you guys can watch the entirety of the interview. Jared Carabas in the Section 10 podcast interviewed Trevor Story just a few days ago on March 9th, which was 3 days ago. And again, the question from Jared was, what are your goals for this up-and-coming season? Where Trevor Story said this, and I quote, "Yeah, health is the top priority for sure. I think just putting games on the field, just the volume, if I do put up 155 games, which is the goal for me, most of the stats are going to be there. And again, that is the end of the quote from Trevor Story. And this is a perfect answer. This is exactly what we want to hear from someone in Trevor Story, who is more than aware of the problems with the injuries that he's been dealing with over the last few years, the last 3+ years with this Red Sox organization specifically. And he knows the biggest goal for him is to get on the diamond and stay healthy and play consistently, because if that is the case, the stats are going to follow. The stats are going to be there. And again, he went on in that interview. Again, it's tagged down below. Please go check it out if you're a Red Sox fan and you want to be optimistic about Trevor Story, because hearing it from him it's awesome to hear, because he talks about how he has a friendly gentleman's wager with Jarren Duran and the hopes for extra base hits and trying to turn singles into doubles and doubles into triples. And again, hoping to be able to do that and not only be a great offensive piece in the sense of my OPS is high, obviously my batting average is high, but again, turning those singles into doubles, getting those extra base hits, turning those doubles into triples, and the ability to not only get on base, but then steal some bases, something that he mentioned in that interview. He wants to be able to attack and be a vital piece of the offense in all facets of the game. And again, just reiterating the fact that this is a perfect answer from a player in the Red Sox organization. It's exactly what you want to hear. You could not write the script and hand it to him and have him read it any better than the answer he gave us. And again, maybe he's being optimistic. Maybe he's just throwing out the idea that, yes, I understand I have not been healthy, and I understand that if I do play, the stats are, at least some of them are going to be there. He seems very focused. He seems very determined. And obviously, the idea of having a friendly wager with Duran in this, a gentleman's wager, if you will, in hopes to see who has more extra base hits is awesome. There is competition in the clubhouse in a friendly, in a competitive way, something that we want to see. It's going to make everyone better. Everyone's going to be competing harder against one another in hopes to perform at a very high level as a team. This is something that what we need to see from the Boston Red Sox, and specifically players like Trevor Story, who have been yet to see at a high level perform, at least for a long period of time, with this Red Sox organization on a professional, at the show level, if you will. Again, yes, obviously we've seen him playing a handful of games. Yes, I understand that. If you go back to Colorado, where he did play in a lot more of those games, 157, 145 twice. Then again, he had a 59-game season, which wasn't great. And then he had a 142 before coming to Boston. Now, again, hopefully we get to see him slowly but surely find his groove and become acclimated to the bigs and really find a consistent path where he is playing in 155 games, like he mentioned in that quote in the interview on the Section 10 podcast. Now we're quickly going to highlight this quote from Ian Brownie and then break down his 2025 spring training stats, because if we get half of what we're getting in spring, Trevor Story is going to be in the running for the MVP conversation. And I'm not even kidding. Ian Brownie goes on to tweet this. Good news on Trevor Story, and I quote, "He's doing okay. He's just tight. He was taking grounders today. Felt it a little bit. He should be playing tomorrow." End of quote, Alex Cora said. Again, this is huge. Again, should see him today against the... Who do we play? We play the... No, we don't play Milwaukee. We play Cleveland? I think we play Cleveland. Play Cleveland today. Yeah, we play Cleveland today. So he should be playing today. That should be interesting, as I believe Tanner Houck is on the mound for the Red Sox today. Going to be interesting. Can't wait to see how he performs. Hopefully Story's there, because, well, in spring of 2025, he has been destroying baseballs. And yes, he only does have 2 home runs, but he has a 1355 OPS, he 458 batting average, and a 480 OBP. In 24 ABs, he has 11 hits. He scored 7 runs on those 11 hits, including 2 home runs. He has been phenomenal all spring long. And again, I can't wait to see him consistently perform for this Red Sox organization. I think it's going to result in this offense not only being ranked in the top 10, but possibly in the top 3 by the time the end of the season comes for the 2025-2026 season, thanks to players like Trevor Story. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.